And the other challenge that we see, or another key finding from the research, is that very often as an industry, we use the words compliance and quality interchangeably. And in other industries, and Bill, you can probably attest to this, if you're in high tech or if you're in automotive or if you're in aerospace, the goal of compliance is actually to improve the processes, to drive down costs and so on. And really the goal of compliance or the value of compliance, it's a cost center, it costs us money. Quality is an investment. In our industry, we're so hyper-focused on compliance that it often becomes an obstacle to quality. And this is something that Dr. Shuren has actually talked about. You know, in this quote, he said, you know, when one device manufacturer can meet FDA requirements and still make a poor quality device, whereas a second manufacturer may not comply with all FDA requirements and yet make a high quality device. And in our conversations with Dr. Shuren's and his staff, what FDA is looking to do through the Case for Quality initiative is to have industry focus on manufacturing high-quality devices where compliance to regulatory requirements is a baseline. We all need to comply. This is the industry that we're in, but our focus needs to be the patient. Our focus needs to be doing everything that we can in order to ensure that every device that goes out the door and touches a patient is of the highest quality possible. So when we ask in our research, what are the top business disruptors? And we're talking about business disruptors in general, not as it relates to any particular topic. You can see mergers and acquisitions was very high with 43%. The rate of technological innovation, like mobile apps and smartphones and connected devices, emerging and globalization, were also very high. But what was most surprising was the number one disruptor for our industry, our regulatory and government agencies. And again, this talks to the fact that we're so hyper-focused on the compliance that we're not really as focused as we should be on improving product quality. And with limited resources, if you need to focus on one or the other, compliance seems to trump. So with that in mind, how can companies leverage closed-loop processes to improve product quality while meeting regulatory requirements? Bill, do you want to start with that one?
Sure, I'll take a start with that. And I completely agree that compliance to regulations does not necessarily mean quality, and we see that all the time. And you know, I can go back to my days prior to FDA requirements and so forth, working in the ISO 9000 world. We used to talk about the fact that you can produce a product that meets all of the specifications but doesn't really meet the customer requirements. And the analogy we always used was the life preserver made out of concrete, which, you know, as long as you made it correctly, you were compliant, but it didn't really help the customer. And so I think this is where, you know, the Case for Quality initiatives that the FDA is really going after is enormous. It's about trying to understand how business puts their management systems together so that it helps what they're doing be more effective. And then in the end, you should, you know, by default, if you're doing the right things, the regulations, the requirements from notifying bodies or regulatory agencies should just come naturally.
Yep. It's a great point. Hugo, what's your take on it?
I agree with Bill, and I would add that, you know, once the system's in place, the fact that it has a closed loop can really help drive improvements and provide focus on high impact activities, right? That closed loop is what really is a crucial element to help ensure that the changes we're driving achieve the desired results and really move the needle and improve the quality.
Yep. And really what you want to do in software speak is you want to shift left, right? You want to find the problems, the issues, as early as possible in your product life cycle. Because if you can fix an issue during the design process, it just costs you the time for somebody to change it in a CAD drawing. Once you're in production, you already made some product, you've tuned your process and so on. That costs you probably an order of magnitude more. But if the customer is the one who finds it, that is probably 3 or 4 orders of magnitude what it would have cost you had you shifted left. So that's another key concept that we're trying to discuss and bring forth. Let's try to find the issues before our customers find them.